Welcome back to the channel, folks. This is Luna here with another King Arthur Legends Rise video. And today I want to do a quick update on where I'm at with Hall of Conquerors. And we'll look at doing some summons afterwards too. So hopefully we'll get lucky and get some good pulls. But yesterday I was able to go in and get quite a bit more hearts on Penveid. And that's one, probably the biggest one is just straight up RNG, especially with this boss on letting that heal reduction and who gets it first, the timing of when it's landed, etc. But I was able to use memory stones to get Arthur up to the next chivalry level to get an extra 15% damage. So that definitely also helped me boost it to get that extra hearts here. So I just want to go over kind of the team I'm using and then basically just show the skill order set. So Arthur here, obviously he's the main damage dealer and solely using his A2 because of the debuffs coming from Tristan. I don't have to rely on Arthur trying to land a debuff in order to get those extra smacks. So Ain here, I'm going back and forth between her A3 and her A2 for that counter strike, also for a little bit of healing, not based off of her skill set, just based off of her chivalries. And then Tristan here, I'm going back and forth between his A1 and his A3, mainly because the A1 has the attack speed down and try to land that on Penveid. Then A3 has the 8 random hits. However, it is random. So I am working on trying to build up his Storm Relic. Once I do so, then I'll probably try to switch over to using his Storm Relic next time Penveid comes around. But I was using his Flame Relic in other areas of the game, so I did focus on that one. So maybe a little shame on my part, but still I'm pretty happy with the number of hearts I have, considering I don't have everyone, completely maxed out, all their gear completely maxed out, all of their relics fully awakened, etc. Right? Then I have Turin in here for her defense up, but also for her healing. And so I'm using her A2 for that defense up and the recover over time. And then the A3 solely for the heals coming off of that. Now I did recently get lucky and craft a recovery belt under the Immortal set for keepsakes. And that allowed me to go back and put HP on the ring, her ring, I believe. But anyway, I got a little more HP, but also a lot more heals by doing so. Which also really helped get the extra hearts, because when Arthur's health was low and the immortality kicked in, you do want to heal him back pretty fast. All right, so we'll go back and we'll look at what I'm doing here for Megalon. Again, this is nothing fancy here. I am really limited by chivalries on this team. I do not have a lot of chivalries, as you can see, on Revenant Merlin. Next to nothing when it comes to Lucius and Aqua Guinevere here. But it is pretty beneficial having that co-op attack coming from Vala. Now obviously I was able to use the regular Guinevere here, but just not really working out based on the relic situation. But also I don't really have my regular Guinevere that well built either. That's also something I'm working on, because it will also be helpful when it comes back to Thrym, specifically mainly when it come back around to the Storm Thrym. But I'll show you what I'm using here. Going back for their A3 and A2, one because of the buffs, but also because of the wanting to land that Storm Calling Wing Beats, because I don't really have a healer per se on here. But when this lands, the attacker heals himself by 40%, right, of the attacker's max HP. So that's pretty massive, especially considering I do not have a healer on this team. Now, I just threw in the A1 there for Lucius to try to help with landing that defense down. And then just cycling back and forth between his A2 and his A3, because I don't have them maxed out to where just solely relying on the A2 from the co-op attack to take down those totem poles. So since I don't have that, I'm going back and forth between using the A2 and the A3 here, primarily. One for the damage on Megalon himself, but also again to try to take down those totem poles. Because you do want to make sure you take the barrier down first, but you also want to try to take those totem poles down as fast as possible as well. Then like here going between the A3 and the A2 here, mainly because of that co-op attack. And then same with Aqua Guinevere, going back and forth between her A2 and A3. Very similar to Lucius, because I want to make sure I'm taking that barrier down, but also again trying to get rid of those totem poles as fast as possible. So nothing fancy here. I don't want to take the time to go make a super long video and then go show you all the gear, etc. But if you've seen in my other videos, I've gone over this, gone over Megalon specifically in another video. But just want to give you guys a quick update without taking too much of your time here. All right, so Talos. So this is still a personal best for me, getting this many hearts. But I do have this team as probably the best when it comes to, as you can see, having the Chivalry's mainly maxed out, the Relics almost fully awakened, and then almost fully maxed out for Morgan here. But for Nika, I'm solely using the A3 because he does bring a lot of heals. And I was able to get lucky with her as well, crafting a piece of gear to get an extra 1,000 HP. I was only getting about 19,000, but I was able to get it up to 20,000, which was huge. Trying to keep this team alive because Talos can smack pretty hard, especially if he's hitting at the one character more than once. So for Morgan, solely using her A2, right? Because of the chance of removing buffs, but mainly because of lining that defense down, right? And I am using the Frost Relic just because of the Relic matchup. For Clarison, going back and forth between her A3 and her A2, because they both do damage with this Relic, but also the A3 is also landing those extra defense downs, which definitely helps try to get as much defense down on the boss as possible. And then Irumet, I am using her A2 and her A3, primarily her A3. And then I've tried using it without using her A2, but those extra buffs that she brings to herself that Nika is not bringing definitely increases the damage. And two, you also want to make sure that you have mark on the boss so that she is doing extra damage based off of those marks. So they did change things up here to where it used to be if you were in the top 50, you got a relic or a piece of a relic. For the character right now, it's the Storm Relic for Lagartha. So I am sitting at 159 hearts total, which I believe that might be the most I've ever gotten total for all of Hall of Conquerors. Definitely 65 is the most I've ever gotten on one single boss before. But I am sitting at currently rank 42. I don't expect to stay there. We do have, you know, a couple of days left or a day and a half left or so at the time of this recording. But I think I'm pretty safe to stay within the top 50, but the only difference between staying in the top 50 and going between 50 and I think it's now 300 is just a couple hundred or maybe 150 more crystals. So it is kind of nice that they're letting more people get the chance to get at those pieces of relics, but at the end, it will take a while if you're like me, only getting the one shard for the relic. It's going to take quite a while before we actually get to 10 and actually pull that relic for that character. But hopefully we'll end this off with doing some summons, and hopefully we'll get lucky. So I do have, because of the reset in the shops, which it's also kind of odd that to me you have some resets that's daily, some that's weekly, some that seem like it's monthly, but it's not really tracked. It's just time until reset, but you're not really sure what exactly is going to reset each day. So that is a little quirky, but for here, we'll just go in because we do have this legendary pool that I picked up from the clan shop. And let's see who we get here. Well, we got a Sigrun, someone that I'm not really using now, but I think she is very useful. But I just have better, not just defense, better damage dealers as well. So let's see. Then we'll jump over here to like Avalon. Now we'll make this an even 30 pop because I do want to save some crystals going in for the next event. But as you can see, we're at 60. I was able to get Lucius up to Shiver level 2. I'd like to get at least one more before this reset. But I also want to make sure I try to start building up for the next, hopefully next character coming in on the next session. So we'll make this an even 30 and hopefully we'll get lucky with something here. And it's just blues. 2 blues, at least it wasn't just a single pop. Those will definitely help with the shard shop because I'm trying to build back up to try to get shield for other characters based off of these relics. Come on, give me that flex. We all want that flex, right? Yes, yes. Please be. Wow, and 4 blues, 5 blues. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. Chose and hey, can't complain. I got a legendary character and 5. Not really using. Was it Charlotte? Is that her name? Not really using her anywhere. I think she really does need a buff, but not a Lucius, but still pretty cool. Legendary character and 4 rares is pretty crazy. Can we get lucky and get back to back? Oh, nope. Looks like all of our luck went out on Charlotte. That's alright. That's okay. A little disappointing, but you know what? We still got a legendary character, not too bad. So, I do have 20 of these. Not expecting to get anything here, but I really would love to get another Arthur or Heal. Those are 2 that I primarily want, and unfortunately, you kind of have to fill up your wish list to try to get one of the 4. I wish I could just throw one character in and that's all I ever got, but I digress. Let's see who we got here. Come on. It's all right. Two rares. Like I said, at least we're getting a lot of stuff to exchange in the shard shop there. Come on, give us that flex one more time. We got on the second pop last time. Can we do it this time? And that's an A. Looks like we used up all of our luck on Charlotte. But hey, at least you got 2 more rares. I have done these a lot, and it seems like only getting a single rare total. So again, not too bad. We do have some relics here. For Frost Relic, I'm not really sure if I'm really waiting on anyone specifically here, but hey, I'll take what I can get to either exchange or also do some elemental damage. That's alright. Hey, 2 rares again, not too bad. I do have all of the relics for all of the rares, but specifically for some of the rares, I wouldn't mind maxing out their damage by enhancing those relics. But 2, I'm also a completionist, so I'd like to do that anyways. For a Storm Relic, I'm trying to think. I don't know if anyone specifically here, but hey, getting more for another one for Morgan or for Saris, right? Because she can do some damage would be great as well. Come on, let us get lucky. And it looks like all of our luck and a single rare there. Look at that. Looks like all of our luck was wasted on Charlotte. I can't really complain. Not really a waste, but still. We'll jump in real quick and see what those chivalries got for us. And the part pretty far down because I'm not really using any of these characters. So effect resistance HP percentage. Okay, not too bad. Sigrid, can be useful, especially for earlier accounts if you get her pretty early. But you can tell she is old school because some of her kit doesn't really open up until she all the way to Shiver level 8. But she does, a lot of her stuff is not really adding extra stuff as some of the newer characters coming into the game. But not too bad here. So Charlotte, I did go for her originally when she was the champion for the special rate up summons, but she was kind of a disappointment. She can do some decent damage if you have a pretty good drain set on her, but then like if you're trying to put her in going against bosses or Padars, which I think she was originally planned to be used for, it's just she'll get wiped out too quick before you can really heal her back up, and especially with her being a Steed's favor. You could pair her with Nika if you had Nika, but again, you're not gonna get all the benefits because being from different favors, right? So let's see what we get here. Primordial Wrath enhancement, reduce skill cooldown by 4 turns. Okay. When hit while at 40% or less HP, grant Steed's favor ally again. Steed's favor, with 100% chance to gain attack speed increase 3 for 1 turn. So that's not too bad. But again, her damage, even obviously I don't have her fully maxed out, but I've seen other people who've had her maxed out and her damage really wasn't that good either compared to some of the other damage dealers. Like, I would take an old school Bedivere over a Charlotte when it comes to just straight up raw damage. All right, well, that's all I have for you guys today. As always, let me know if there's some content you'd like to see covered down in the comments below, and thanks for stopping by.